We are back to the podcast, 40-Day Wealth. And podcast is typically about entrepreneurs, the mindset of an entrepreneur, and what legacy they leave behind. We're going to do that, but we have somebody who is extremely interesting. A unique show today. I'm very honored and excited. I have Duke Tanner here, who has such an incredible story. I'll summarize it first. Duke was a professional boxer, undefeated, and due to a law that part of the crime package that punished nonviolent criminals under a law that was directed by Biden, you had no chance of parole. You had a double life sentence for a nonviolent drug conviction.
Yes.
And what you learn about in prison is you're either institutionalized, which most people are, but you weren't. And Trump provided you clemency, and now you're out of jail.
Yes.
So now the fight is round two.
Right.
And so if you could just touch upon very briefly what it was like to get that conviction. Actually, go back and talk about your boxing career a little bit.
Okay.
And
well, first and foremost, I want to give God all the praise and glory, because without him, I wouldn't be here. The president was used as a vessel to allow me to come home, meaning President Trump. I started boxing at a young age. I come from, the normal 1980s crack, alcohol, addiction, family, neighborhood type thing. And I was using boxing to try to take my family out of that. And it was working. I was a 1996 bronze medalist in the Junior Olympics. I had over 106 amateur fights, and I turned professional right out of high school. Mm-hmm. But the money wasn't coming enough to, take the whole family with me. I kind of did it the wrong way, trying to pull everybody at one time instead of going to make it. But I knew what I was made to do. So I went to the streets, and I broke the law. And the guys that I was working for had got into some trouble, and the Mexicans, they used me as a scapegoat to cut their time. I refused to cooperate. I used my constitutional rights and went to trial and ended up getting a double life sentence. I tried to take the plea agreement to take the time for what I'd done or whatever, and really the whole case, and they was like, no, you gotta do this and do that or go to trial. So I went to trial, and I received a double life sentence without parole. It was my first arrest in my life. No real drugs was brought into the courtroom, no large sums of money, no firearms, nothing was brought into the court. But they made me the leader of the conspiracy from an indictment that stated January 1993 to 2004. And I was 12 years old in January of 93, and they made me the leader of the case and gave me a double life sentence. I lost all my appeals. I really just knew I was gonna get the clemency when the Obama administration started giving the clemency. I fit all the prongs, but I was denied without a reason. But I continued to pray. I continued to write different advocates. So many, people were supporting me and this and that and the other. I just had a 2-year-old son when I went away, my only child, in October 2020, man, I was waking up saying, you finna go home by President Trump.
Wow.
So that's
and you weren't even political. You didn't even have any. I mean, you were in jail, so you had no voting rights. So it wasn't like you could vote for him.
And I had been down 16 plus years now. When I got it, by the time I got it, I had been down 16 years because I was incarcerated September 1st, 2004. And I got out October 21st, 2020.
And you were in maximum security. You were. You weren't in a camp. You were in a.
No, I had camp points, but I did 8 years behind a wall before they moved me down to a medium, and I was stuck there, throughout the time. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So you got to see a little of everything.
Oh, man, you know, I'm from Gary, but I saw things in that penitentiary that I never saw before, you know.
Like, give me an example of...
The last murder that was done in the prison, the guy was stabbed like 72 times. They tried to cut his head off from what the report said.
Wow.
That was the last murder. But, you know, the stabbings and beatings, it came a norm. You just walk away, have nothing to do with you, and you go about your business.
So I would imagine the best thing you could do being in jail is to be a professional boxer. It probably helped, or did it hurt? Because people wanted a challenge.
No, I had a vision, though, and I believe your character is everything. So your character is what keeps you going in business. To me, in this new industry that I'm in, as far as the real world, but the same thing behind the closed doors. So I didn't have problems, and it wasn't because I was a boxer, because I believe it was some more guys that didn't care about that. You know, they mindset was so institutionalized. They wanted that type of, you know, drama or whatnot, to where they can say they stabbed me up or they beat me up or whatever. So, you know, but the way, when your character right, and I felt like I had favor, I was just blessed by God, to be honest.
Yeah, so you tried to stay out of trouble, and trouble didn't find you that much?
No, I was actually in leadership at every institution I ever been in, because it's basically a whole different world. But, you know, the guys knew my leadership was coming with the right principles and morals for the people that we led, based under the Midwest, or guys from Indiana, and I was going to do what was best for them no matter what, because this was the new world that I lived in.
And did you have, I mean, this is very similar to entrepreneurship. It's about mind over anything else. So now you're not on one life sentence, 2 life sentences, which makes no sense, but, you know, 2 life sentences for a nonviolent crime.
Yes.
How do you wake up every day knowing that more likely than not, most likely, the rest of your days are going to be behind bars?
I didn't believe it, and I was fighting for my son, you know, because he didn't deserve for me to be away, and I wanted a relationship with him outside of the institution, you know, so I refused to be just a picture on the wall. You know, I would write him, I would use the phone, I would, you know, send messages to people that went home, whatever I can do to try to be an ear, because I believe that every child should have a father no matter what. And if God opened my eyes, I was going to be that father for him in there, and hopefully one day I was going to get out.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, so that was my motivation right there.
And what did you do to pass time there?
You know, I worked out, I read books, I tried to fight the case, and, you know, I got a stronger relationship with God. Like, I knew him, so I just started to study a little more and do things of that nature, you know, and I was trying to help the other guys.
Okay, so now, bless you.
Thank you.
So now you're out of jail, or prison, I should say.
Yeah.
And so do they give you money, they give you a chance, or they give you every reason to get back?
I mean, actually, you know, this system is so broken to where, you know, you don't have the tools. You have to self-rehabilitate, you know, and that's the thing, you know. It's like being diagnosed with medication.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a doctor for a sickness, they give you the right dose, you're going on about your life, you heal. But if the dose isn't strong enough, then what do? You got to go back, get a stronger dose. But if they give you too much, they can either kill you by overdose or leave you, you know, disabled somewhere. That's how broken this system is. They giving guys that shit on the guidelines for what I was arrested for, 15 kilograms of cocaine. That wasn't even real. On the guidelines, the max on it was 72 months, something like that. Mm-hmm. How do I get a double life sentence for 72 months? Mm-hmm. You know, so we're talking even the 10-year max. Why would you give someone that time? So people don't have nothing to do. So therefore, you know, and it's the same thing when you come home. Mm-hmm. You know, I had to fight to get the Medicaid, to be able to go to the doctor, I had to start off getting food stamps, and I didn't know the president, but he read my case and felt that my sentence was unjust, so therefore he commuted my sentence. So I didn't come home to a big check or this, that, and the other. A couple of different foundations, maybe, you know, wrote me, a couple of churches wrote me, and I started speaking at events and things of that, and some would pay and some wouldn't, but my target was the generation of my son. I know now that they need someone to talk to them. So it wasn't about $1. That's when my character kicked in, and that's what I had been doing behind the wall, trying to get those guys ready to go back outside. So now I'm outside. I got to get the guys that's out here to try to help get them on track, and you got to be in the midst of it. So I went right back into the midst of trying to pull some of them out.
Wow. So how do you even make a living on the streets? Or not, I shouldn't say on the streets, but outside the prison walls. I mean, you were there for, what, 16 years?
Yeah, so I came home. I tried a couple of different jobs, but I feel like just because I'm a felon, I shouldn't have to go and work for nobody. You know, I always had the entrepreneurship. I wanted to be a world champion. I wanted to do certain things. So I was blessed to go speak at this summit at Liberty University. It was about CEOs, and they let me CEOs, and they let me speak. And I mean, it was millionaires, billionaires in there, and I actually got to meet this guy named Julio Gonzalez. I didn't know who he was, but I was telling him, like, you know, just because I'm a felon, that don't mean that I'm not an entrepreneur. You know, it's things that I could be taught. It's things that I could add to people's businesses, and so much more. And I did my time. On top of, you have the president of the United States said that I did too much time. Even though I'm still on probation. As today, they gave me 10 years of probation, which I done served. 10 years
of probation, yeah.
Yeah, I done served 3 years of it, clean, never had a dirty urine, never had anything. Always, you know, turn my papers in on time. But make a long story short, Mr. Julio said that I expired him. And then he told me who he was. And then I started to research. And I continued to speak. I sit on a panel for the AFPI, the athletes panel, and they are pushing policy, something that I really believe in. Ms. Brooke is the CEO. She played a role in getting my petition to the president. And I sit on a panel to go around to the churches and different communities to speak. And actually, that was the first. That was a job that I was given to, where they started to pay me to go out and speak. And but about 30 days ago, Mr. Julio said that he saw something in me that he hadn't saw in someone. So he said, as of today, you got a new title for engineering tax services as the community develop for the minorities and grants all over through the United States, and that's your title. And I think you're going to be the best of it because of your heart and your will to want to give back. And I actually got my first paycheck last week.
Wow! Yeah. See, that's what Julio does. Besides, you know, helping being a sponsor of this show, he's just, you know, somebody will be writing a book about him and his generosity towards bringing people from all different walks of life into this universe and investing in the right people.
Yes.
That will, you know, it's an investment. It's not a gift. It's an investment. He's going to benefit more than you will out of this.
Yes.
But he believes in you, and you have to start from somewhere.
Yes.
And it's very interesting, especially when you're wearing that mark as a felon, and they give you nothing. You didn't get, you know, $1,000 for an apartment to stay, and you were just basically homeless the second you left those bars.
Yes, I came home. I started staying with someone. Things didn't go as planned, and you know, it took a couple of nights. You know, a friend had gave me a vehicle. A couple of nights, you know, I had to sleep in that vehicle. But you know, I was free. So I could have slept on, I've been sleeping on the concrete anyway, so I could have slept out, but I was free sleeping on the concrete, so it didn't matter. Yeah. And I didn't look back, and I'm thankful I actually got to meet the president finally 3 years later. So where people think like, you know, they make a lot of statements, he let his friends go, this, that, and the other. I wasn't his friend. I mean, he let a black man from Gary, Indiana, reunite with his family. You know, I had lost both of my parents. I had my son, and you know, I was beyond thankful. You know, so where people saying that they need to know the truth, and they don't know it until they hear my story.
Yeah, so how do you keep this mindset though? Like it's, I mean, is this, you think, boxing, sports? Because one of the things, the most daring thing about you is this winner's philosophy. You don't have a victim mentality. I mean, if anyone had to have a victim mentality, I would probably imagine it would be you, with what you had to go through.
Don't work like that. And then, like I said, I always been a positive person. I always been wanting to give back. That's why I tell you where your character come in at. I believe that's what Mr. Julio see. I believe in my faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ helped me, as well as my mindset on when I wanted to come home, to get home. I couldn't be angry. I was in leadership in prison. I couldn't move off my emotions, and because it could have cost someone's life, even mine, or the possibility of me coming home. So I take that same energy into every step in things and the challenges that are coming through in life. So, and I will say that boxing played a role in it because, I was doing it since I was 6 years old. So, I had to have certain discipline. I didn't have a childhood. I didn't really ride bikes and do all that. I stayed close to the coach, so he picked me up first. He dropped me off last. My childhood was inside the boxing gym.
So you had a coach that believed in you, and it all started with somebody believing in you before you had the ability to believe in yourself, or?
100%. But I think, and me personally, I guess people saying it, but I guess my actions, you know what I mean? My actions show it this guy can do it.
Wow. So what is your aspirations to get back in the ring?
Man, listen, I had to get things in order. So like I said, I started training with this business, but come September 1st, it'll be 20 years. That's 2 decades, but I would love to have some fun one more time. Just to even, I used to always pull my son in the ring with me after my fights when I fought on TV and everything. So I would love to have one more run. I love what this kid, Jake Paul, is doing. Yeah. Everybody's saying he's not a fighter. It take a man to get in there and put them gloves on without a headgear. So I disagree to that, no matter what they saying. So Jake, I'd love to get one more time with you.
Not Mike Tyson?
Yeah, man, Mike, it wouldn't matter, but I respect, I love what Jake doing, and he's keeping boxing alive. Boxing was going away, and this guy bringing a lot to it. So, by even with him, even getting in there with Mike, that's a dream that he want. So therefore, he's fulfilling it. I love it. You know what I mean? No matter who win, what happens, I love it. He get to fight he get to fight again. And what the way he feel and the way he's doing things, I would rather challenge him than Mike.
Yeah. No, it's a great business too. It's really just a very interesting model nowadays, especially because your biggest audience are teenagers that would not gravitate to boxing, never been in a boxing rink. Yeah. But because Jake Paul and social media and the influence that he has, I have a stepson, he's 17 years old, and he's in the boxing ring now, all because of Jake Paul. The sport has been revitalized.
And people don't know that, and that's the thing. A lot of people speak on things that they don't have no knowledge of, and they can, take a negative play. Everybody got the right to have their opinion, but, I like it.
But you're going to stay undefeated, right?
Listen, I'm 19-0, really 20-0, because we beat the government with the president by him letting me go. So we'll take one more and make it 21, and I can really hang it up.
So when you met the president, or President Trump, let me clarify, not the current president who is responsible for putting you behind the bars, right?
Yeah.
You have to laugh, but it's not a laughing matter.
Yeah, sometimes you laugh to stop you from crying,
Exactly. So where did you meet him?
I spoke at an event in Mar-a-Lago with the athletes, on the athletes panel for the AFPI, and he came into the event, and we hadn't met yet, and the next thing I know, the Secret Service actually called me and my son over, and we got to meet him at the same time. So, and actually I allowed my son to thank him first and it was amazing, And then,
what did he say to you?
He just said he heard that what happened, and he couldn't believe that I got all that time. He didn't understand it, and he let me know that he read my petition because he knew how much time I had did, and I mean his memory must have been that good. Yeah. And the next thing he hugged me and he just said, "You're gonna do great things. A lot of people believe in you."
Great things.
And Coach Lou Holtz was with him too as well.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So the next part of the show is we're switching it up just a little bit because we have another special guest, your son.
Oh, yeah.
It's Duke Tanner Jr., who's going to be on the hot seat. We're going to change it around.
Okay.
The show's really about not only wealth. It's wealth, it could be money, it could be just mindset, and your mindset is just second to none. Like, no excuses, you're going to get things done, and you have a great future ahead of you, but there's no point in a lot of this without defining what your legacy is. So you were in jail the majority of your son's life, and to have a relationship outside prison, outside those four walls, that's what we're going to discuss next. Stay tuned.
Yes.
We are back. It's a little different format. We have, not only we have Charles Duke Tanner, the senior, we have his son, Charles Jr., and what I love most about your story, and this is a show about not only entrepreneurship, but legacy. And you were in jail your son's whole entire life just about. How did you create a relationship while he was in jail? While you were in jail, I'm sorry.
For one, I got to give a lot of credit to his mom. He made sure that she was gonna lead the line of communication. And no matter what, she would sit him down and have him to write back, or even when he was a baby, make sure she put him to the phone and bring him to visit me. So I just used every tool that the BOP had and tried to find extra ways to talk to him and write him in the best way I could. I just didn't want to be a picture on the wall.
So how often did you maintain contact, and how?
We only had 300 minutes a month.
300 minutes a month, not just between you and him, but between you and everyone.
Right. You get 300 minutes a month, but they end up bringing a system called Core Links where you could type messages or whatnot. So that would help, and then we would write letters. So, I was doing things to that nature. I just, whenever I was thinking about him, or if we wasn't on lockdown in the maximum security, then I wrote a lot of letters. I wrote more letters than I did phone calls in the maximum.
Mm-hmm. And did you get to see each other often, or at least once a year, or how did that work?
Yeah, because by me being in the max, if something was to happen, they were locked down. So financial situations, it was hard for her to get up as a single mom and work and bring them up all the time. But for sure, we saw each other at least once a year.
Yeah, and that's right. You were in the middle of nowhere, Florida, right?
No, I was in Terre Haute, USP in Indiana, but they was living in Atlanta at the time.
Right. So that was what?
8 hours.
8-hour drive both ways to see you for how long?
We could visit from 8 to 3, but the only thing about in the max, if a big fight broke out on the yard, they lock you down and they stop the visit.
And that's happened before?
Oh, it's happened many times to where they didn't came down to see me, and the fight happened Friday night, so they didn't get to see me Saturday. We was on lockdown.
So 16 hours of... So, Charles, how was it like growing up with the father that you thought you may never see?
At times it was hard because every kid does want their father. And I also had to teach myself like a lot of stuff. I had to pay attention to like a lot of my friends and cousins that like had their father around. So like I just always watch. I feel like that is the reason I'm a people watcher, because I always watch and learn stuff from different people. So like, but I never like felt bad about it or like was super down on myself, because like in my community, like when I was living in Atlanta or Gary, like a lot of kids also didn't have their father. So like when somebody used to try to like not project type like a shame or like ask if I like feel bad or something, like I feel normal, but I also had faith that my father was always gonna come home. Like no matter what the paperwork and stuff said, me and my family always was like, my dad's coming home soon. Like it's soon. Like that was always what was taught to me. Like he's gone right now, but he's coming home soon.
And how did you find out your father was coming home soon?
Actually, I was writing a paper about like prison and what's wrong with the prison system in America. And while I'm writing the paper, like telling my story and telling about my father and why this project is important to me, I got a phone call saying that President Trump has gave my father clemency and he's about to let him out. So it was really like crazy, like deja vu type scenario.
And what did you think of Trump before that?
I would always had a like different viewpoint because I was like everybody used to love Trump when he was on WWE and all in the movies, and then like now it's like everybody like kind of hates him. So like I would just take everything like with salt and sugar. Like say he does something that like cause a big outrage or he does something good, like I take everything for what it is. I'm not gonna say like I was a super big fanatic of him, but I didn't dislike him. I thought he was a great businessman. I wanted to be just like him.
Yeah. So how was it like to meet him?
It was an amazing opportunity. Like the first thing he said to me was, "You're a stud. You need to be a movie star." And I'm like, "Man, I want to be a businessman like you, but maybe we can get into some movies or the TV shows."
That's great. So how old were you when you found out and you reunited with your father?
I was 2 when he was arrested. I probably found out like his situation like when I was like 5 or 6, because I'm in kindergarten. Everybody gets to look up on Google. Like, so of course I'm gonna look up my father, and then that's when I got I asked my teacher, like, what does this mean? So like she basically called my mom because like it was a drug case. So like she called my mom, like, why is he talking about this? And then my mom, like, so from a young age, I felt like I had an understanding, like even though everybody didn't think I understood, I felt like at a young age I understood everything that was going on.
Right. But how old were you when you found out your father was coming home?
Oh, I was 19. Yeah, I was 19.
Wow. So how is your relationship with your father now?
Man, it's my best friend. Like, feel like we always with each other. We do everything together, and it just is amazing that like all the stories and the type of person that I wanted to become and felt like I was creating by myself, like it matched up to the type of man my father was. It was like, I don't know, everything is just meant to be, and maybe us being so far apart still allowed us to become one and the same.
Right. Yeah. So you're spending most of your days with your father now, catching up.
Yeah, I'm spending most of the days with my father.
What are you doing work-wise? Are you working together in projects and things of that nature, or?
Yeah, we both have still been growing like as businessmen and just learning the ins and outs of different businesses, because it's very industries that we would like to get into and take over. But I have been in school. I'm about to graduate college in 8 weeks. I'm gonna be the first man in my family to go to college and graduate. So that's gonna be a big breaking point for our family. Just change the surroundings of our whole family dynamic. Like we share the same name, but it's gonna be able to take some dirt off of his situation. Like he has a son that went to college and graduated, is doing everything the right way. So
through you, his legacy is something substantial and exceptional. There's something you want to say to your son from the heart?
There's so much I could say to him. He's graduating school. He went through a lot. If it wasn't for Trump, I wouldn't be here. But I'm proud of you. I love you. He's my hero.
Yeah, appreciate you, Daddy.
Yeah, it's amazing how, as a father myself, you look up to your children in a different way. And I always relate, joking around, when my kids do something bad, they're like, well, he's half his mother, or she's half his mother. But the things that they do exceptionally well, like they become, mine are young, they're 10 and 12, but they become just more than just friends and kids. They become a part of you. And, the second I wake up, I'm thinking of them. The second I go to sleep, I'm thinking of them. I don't get the pleasure of seeing them every day, but when I am with them, I get to be more in the moment and make the memories. And what's great is you guys have a whole lifetime of memories to be making. But your story is not over. It's just starting. This is chapter 2 or 3 in it. So Charles, do you box at all, or?
Nah, but boxing was actually one of my favorite sports when I was in Atlanta. That was the first sport that I really got into. I boxed for about like 3 years, but when I moved back to Indiana, like I got in middle school, I started doing like more school sports. Boxing isn't a play thing. It's year round, like a lot of hard work. But taking time in basketball and football kind of got me away from the basketball gym, but luckily my football talent got me a scholarship.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what school are you graduating from?
It's called University of St. Francis. It's in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's a great school.
So you're a wide receiver?
No, I actually played DB. I came in as a corner, but after like a couple injuries, I got moved to safety. But my junior year I had the most picks on the team, so I had a good year.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I played football until everyone started gaining weight, and I didn't. And it was like 98 pounds until like I was 17 years old, and realized football, unless I could be a kicker, which I didn't practice, there was no future in it for me. Yeah. But I think God gives you miraculous talents in life, and for me, a lot of things that I really, part of my language, suck at, and those are blessings too, because you know where to focus your efforts, right? Yeah. So right now you're going to be graduating, and you're going to really just, what's your next step? Entrepreneurship, or do you want to work for someone?
Yeah, my next step is definitely entrepreneurship, but I also will be going back to school to get my master's. I'm going to get my MBA.
Oh, wonderful.
So by next summer, I'm going to be 22 years old with a master's degree. So I'm definitely starting to take tax classes right now so I can get some more understanding of just business and financials. So now that we're doing all of these things with these grants and affordable housing, I really want to put us in a position to take off with my father. This is a team
so
thing.
So you're going to be working with Julio as well?
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of things that people aren't aware of, grants that are out there, things that are really meant, at least codified in the code, to provide a benefit to society.
Yes,
but it's your job to educate the population, to let them know that they exist.
You got to take care of your generation.
Yeah, so you can take care of your generation as well.
Yes, sir.
Incredible. I think we're running out of time, but we got the next section is going to be, I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
No problem.
But before we do that, is there anything else you want to say or share or contribute? I mean, don't mind taking a little bit extra.
No, I just want to take a shout out this time to thank my mom for creating the man that I am. Like, I feel like she don't get enough credit. Like, so thankful for my father, and everybody sees us, but that woman that I have at home, she's the strongest person that I know.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things I should have asked you, it sounds exceptional. It's easy for, especially since your father was behind bars, for your mom to badmouth him and to give every reason why you shouldn't have a relationship, but she wasn't.
Yeah. It just speaks to her character, like the type of woman she is. She would never badmouth anyone. She always speaks highly of people, and just, she's a hardworking woman. Like, we didn't have anything when my father went away. She moved us to Atlanta to get better opportunities. Then it wasn't going so well out there, so she moved us to Indianapolis. Like, she always was putting me in better environments so I wouldn't make the same mistakes that people that came before me made. And it just opened my eyes to the world, and I feel like it prepared me for the businessman that I'm going to become.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's just one of those things that I should have brought up, because it takes more than just one person. I mean, because especially when you're raising a child, it's easy to put ideas in the child's head. And
no, she never. That's great.
You're blessed. You truly are.
All the way around, you know. God took care of us.
So,
but it also helps though with the other youngsters that are going through that don't have fathers. Guys can't give up. It's a prime example of, we can't use it as a scapegoat, and then you guys behind the wall, right y'all children. It don't matter what the mom doing. You got a duty and a responsibility as a man to do it, whether if you are incarcerated or not. And I was willing to die for that. That's something I was willing to do a life sentence for.
Yeah, no, I don't think they say it enough. The most masculine thing you can do is be a father. No.
Every day.
Exactly. Yep. So we're now going to go to the hot seat section, and I don't think you know any of the questions. So
let's go.
Let's see how he handles under pressure.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We are back to the third part of our podcast. This is the hot seat. And we are going to ask, Duke, you're going to ask some questions, see how you answer. Just whatever comes out. There hasn't been a wrong answer yet. I won't tell you that there can't be one. I'm sure there is.
Right.
But, the best thing about this is we're not live. So you can be the first that we could re-edit. Just speak from the heart, though, okay?
Yeah, we can.
So who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Sade.
All right. So
Singer. Love her.
So how did you have her album or?
My mom used to always listen to her, so like, whoa, and then, back then, we had the CD covers. Yeah. I mean, not the CD covers, but the records, right. the big records. Oh man, I should just hold that record cover and be dancing with her to Sade. Love her.
That's great. Great. Person you would like to trade places with for just one day?
Charles Tanner Jr.
Probably a Saturday or a Tuesday?
Any day of the week.
Any day of the week. Yeah. A great answer. Guilty pleasure?
Drinking alcohol.
That's a truthful answer. I find that that guilty pleasure is not as pleasurable anymore as it once was. So.
Right.
Because you have to wake up the next day and be productive. And
right.
As you get older, it just really makes you aware that you can't. We're not your age anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Biggest risk you ever took?
Selling drugs.
Yeah. Actually, I like that answer because most of the time it's an answer that's successful, and that changed your life. And you're now who you are, though, because of it. I don't think you would want those 16 years, but...
No, I don't want them no more.
Yeah. Best compliment you've ever received?
My son said I was his hero, even though, I was gone.
How old was he when he said that? Recently or...
In the interview when I came, he was talking to someone, and he said it, but he didn't talk to me. But it's since I've been home, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a grown man, I look at him as a grown man. I don't treat him like, of course he's my child, but, he's a man, so for a man to say that, and he telling me that, and that's what I think about him. So that's what makes our relationship what it is.
Yeah.
And it's the truth.
Yeah, so we went with best compliment you ever got. And
that's one.
What never makes you fail? What never fails to make you laugh?
The movie Life. That's my favorite movie. I love it.
Life?
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy and Martin. I love that movie.
Yeah, I love Eddie Murphy movies. Maybe is this the one where he was sentenced to life?
Yeah, I love it. And he said, "This must be a mistrial. Take me back to my cell." I love that part right there. And then me get life. So I used to joke about that. Yeah. Like, this is wrong. Take me back.
Worst piece of advice you've ever received?
That I should. Some of the men that was in prison, man, they ain't gonna do nothing for you. Don't write President Trump. So older men, he's not gonna never let you out. So I would write the White House once a month with the same letter. I was just sending out a stamp. My life is worth a stamp, and I would send the same letter over and over. And the guy was like, "Man, you crazy."
So that's how President Trump. At the time, President Trump read your letter because you kept mailing it every
I can't say hi. I believe it was, different people of his administration that would get certain things through different advocates and letters. I don't know which one it really was. That's a conversation I would love to have with him one day.
Yeah. Could you imagine it was just one of those days where he said, just give me the best 5 letters, and just so happened to be, you were the luck of the draw. Yeah. Wow. That's great. That tells you something. You be your own man, know what you are capable of doing, and don't let anyone else, their influence to bring you down.
No, I actually got to hug that guy and give him some of my property when I left. I said, "Look."
How shocked was he?
He was just he told me, he said, he didn't believe in God. He said, "You making me, I gave him I gave him a Bible. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, "I'm going to read this book."
Wow. So do you still have the letter from President?
The letters that I used to write?
No. How did, when you got notified that you had...
Oh, my clemency petition?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's at home. Yeah, I
Wow.
still got it, yeah.
Something you wish you were better at?
Dancing.
Dancing, really?
Yeah, my son can dance better than me. He got some little moves.
I joke. I said when I'm caught on video for dancing, there's always this lapse, like a second or two, where the music and the rhythm catch up. Yeah. So I always look. Everyone else could find it, but who would you like to be stranded on a desert island with? I think I know this answer, but
no, I take that back. My wife.
Good answer. So tell me something about you that we don't know.
Something about me that you guys don't know. Before I make any decision or I be asked something that's gonna be out in the opening, I always ask God to give me the right way to handle it and accept whatever come out of it. And that's what's a part of the positivity that helps me be out, because it's like I'm standing up. A leader have to make a decision, and I feel that I am a leader. So therefore, you know, I'm going to live and die by the decision that I made. That's something I always tell him when he was a kid. Every action has a reaction. But not making the decision is worse than not making a decision is worse than making the wrong decision. So therefore, even when I was in prison, it might be stuff that could start a racial riot. So we go in and I have to go and talk to the men. I would say a silent prayer, and then I would go out, and sometimes I would come out, and by the time we meet to talk, the problem was ironed out already, and it was fixed on its own sometimes. So like, that's always what I do.
That's great.
It's always good to say a prayer if you believe before you finna do really anything, especially anything major. You know, it's good to pray all the time, but like I said a prayer before I came and did the podcast.
Yeah, no, I think that's an amazing answer. One of the things that I realize that I do is you stop, you think, you realize you're not the only one making this decision. You have someone who is much more powerful behind you, and accountability, even when you make the wrong decision.
And even with that has put me in a room and put me around so many different people. And that's another thing I could thank Mr. Julio about. He know how to line people up. Yeah. He put me with this tax woman, young black woman that's really out here doing her thing. Macy, she got a big tax company, and she's doing her thing, and he know how to line it up. It's like he playing chess. You know what I mean? He put all the pieces together because
he always does.
He tell me, I got everything. I want to give back, but it takes me to give to the people like you that's going to make it, but give back as well. But I want to line you up with other certain people. And like, you know, when I talked to Macy, first thing she said was, when I told her about my son, you know what? I'm going to start giving him his tax credit. Let's get him lined up on this. He got the education for it. Let him learn this and that, whether if he use it or not. Yeah. He'll be able to do it down the line. And, you know, I mean, I want to thank her for her. She came out to support us today, too. And that's what I'm all about.
That's great. I mean, it's, you know, what I find is if you work, like almost like when I was in law school with Socratic, no one gives you the answer. Mm-hmm. It's up to you to find the answer. But you need to know that the answer exists, and it's up to you to make it happen.
Yeah.
The next part of the show is the final, the conclusion. You're going to do a little differently. We're going to bring back your son, and just basically whatever message you want to say to close out the show, it's yours.
And before I leave, I was told this now. I just got married. I'm a newlywed. This new. You always got to thank your wife, so I thank my wife.
Exactly.
I'm happy. I'm on my way home, and I'm happy. I miss you.
We're going to actually just focus that, and then that's the only thing that you're going to center on the show. I don't know what happened, but this is what I said.
Right, you see? Yeah.
And we'll be right back to Charles, and we'll close out the show. And we're back to do the final piece of the show is to conclude. And what better way of concluding the show? We bring back Charles, and I hand you the keys. Go for it.
Well, I'm just thankful. Once again, I'm going to give my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ all the praise and glory. And I got a book coming out June 9th, Duke Got Life. We're working on a documentary. We're trying to get things in order. I can't wait to start helping develop these different communities. I'm so happy to be a part of this. My whole everything as a man has been always to provide and give back. And I want to take my entrepreneurship as well as my struggles, as well as my success to give back to others deserving of it and that need that extra push because everyone needs it. And I'm thankful for 40 Days of Wealth for being here, my son. And once again, when none of this would have happened if 3 years ago, President Donald J. Trump wouldn't have signed that paper. So President Trump, I want to thank you again for freeing me, and you didn't know me. I'm supporting you to the end. God bless you and thank you.
Do you want to say anything?
I just want to, once again, thank President Trump for freeing my father and giving us this opportunity to create these memories with each other. I also want to thank Julio for providing my father his first actual job, and I know he's going to do big things in that. And also, I just want to send a message to Jake Paul, man. Come get in the ring with my pops one last go around and see what you can do with him. I know you fight old men, but let's see if you can fight somebody younger and still get it off.
Well, let's see that happen. Wouldn't that be great?
You heard what he said, Jake. We ready. We're going to go get ready. Training camp starts Monday.